You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning, Chicago. Welcome to Fully Alive, the radio program of the Office of Human Dignity and Solidarity at the Archdiocese of Chicago. I'm your host, Dawn Fitzpatrick, and with me this morning is my coworker, Ray Pingoy. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Happy Lent.
Happy Lent. I can't believe it's here already.
I know.
Wow, we're here.
It feels like, I don't know, it feels like it's still 2020, but it's Lent 2022.
That's right.
So it's amazing. So Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday, as we dive into start our Lenten journey, right? I can't believe we're almost over. The first quarter of 2022. Is almost over.
I don't know. Did you blink?
Right? It's going by so fast.
It's hard to believe. It just flies by. But wow.
Time flies when you're having fun. I guess we're having fun.
We are. And here we are, a Lenten blessing. We can be in the same room together.
Yes, that is a blessing.
We don't have to wear masks.
Right.
We can if we want.
Before I was in a different room.
I know. So this is nice to have you here. I can talk to your face instead of looking at the screen, which is really
You can see my reactions.
Yes.
Good or bad.
And we should have some great reactions today because we have some really fun things planned. Two things today. First, we're going to continue our Meet Our Intern series. Mm-hmm. And after that, second half of the show, hold on to your hats. Christopher West is joining us.
Sweet.
And for those of you who know, Ray and I are very, very interested in theology of the body. And Christopher West is a great theology of the body evangelist. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I always feel like I'm like his disciple sometimes, and so it's exciting that he'll be talking to us about our upcoming Made for More and about his new book, God is Beauty. So look forward to that. But before we get to him, we have this wonderful opportunity to talk to one of our interns, and her name is Kathleen O'Brien. Hello, Kathleen.
Good morning, Kathleen.
Hi, Ray and Dawn. Thanks so much for having me on.
It's so great. This is really fun to be able to introduce our coworkers. So, Kathleen, you are doing an internship with us, and you're a student. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what brought you to Chicago?
Yeah, thanks. So, before I came to Chicago, I was serving as a Maryknoll lay missionary in China. For 3 years. And so I was really thankful for that experience. And so that brought me into brought me into deeper questions about my faith in a different cultural context and how do I understand myself in relationship to God and to other people. And so I had this yearning to know more about God and my Catholic faith and identity. And so I was brought here to Chicago to study at Catholic Theological Union, studying systematics. And so I am thrilled that I have been able to, spend my education there. Mm-hmm. And I'm currently in about next week, my thesis is due. So that's where I'm on the tail end of my of my education. So,
and wow,
but-
so you're giving us this time in spite of the fact that you should be working on your thesis as we speak.
She's almost done.
Hey, we need a break,
There you go.
Okay.
balance.
Well, I'm glad. This is a fun way to take a break, I think.
I remember
Exactly.
when was that I first met you, and then this was through the Zoom world, and it's so great to get to know you through your internship. I want to ask you though, where did you grow up? And again, kind of prompting to that question of like, how did you hear about this internship?
Yeah. So, well, I grew up in Washington, Illinois, which is close to Peoria, Illinois. So about 2.5 hours south of Chicago. And so in Washington, that's kind of where I was always a cradle Catholic. That's where I grew up, went to mass every Sunday. But it was really in college where I went to Bradley University, in undergrad from 2010 to 2014, that I really grew in my Catholic faith. And I had this yearning again to just know God and to know God, the church. And so went to China and then ended up here in Chicago. And I applied for this internship last spring. So when we were kind of still during the pandemic. And I just was like, I feel so called to do something. I've been studying, I've been buried in books, but I was like, I want to live my faith out in a way that helps the church. Mm-hmm. And so I have always had a deep love of the God's creation. And so I felt like, I'm going to apply for this internship with the Archdiocese. And I'm really grateful that I've been able to be here to serve in the Archdiocese and to serve, the vulnerable populations and to help people kind of know more the intersection between creation and our Catholic faith. So that's kind of the condensed version of how I got where I am now.
Okay, and I didn't say it earlier, but specifically her internship is working with our Laudato Si group and the Care for Creation endeavors that we do in the Office of Human Dignity and Solidarity. So I would imagine you saw some interesting world creation issues in China too.
Yeah, no, thanks for bringing that up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, it was in China that I really saw the environmental crisis on an everyday basis, whether that was lack of clean drinking water, lack of resources of recycling, but also the social crisis of, the overpopulation of people and rubbing up against one another, and then in connection to the environmental degradation. I really saw the intersection front and center in China, and also air pollution as well. And I saw that, there, as my Catholic faith calls me to respond to that crisis. Mm-hmm. And so when I came back to the U.S., I saw things from a completely different lens, and it made me realize like we need to do something about this. And I'm thankful for what our Catholic Church has promulgated. So
yeah, I mean, I'm sure that was different with your experience in China. Now here in the U.S., here in Chicago, what do you do in your internship, and how do you? I mean, it's a different world. How do you kind of connect that in? Because you've seen it, right? You've seen what's actually happening out there, and it's different here in the U.S. In a sense, it's different here in the U.S. So how do you kind of connect that? What do you do in your internship and all that?
Yeah, no, I appreciate these questions because I'm always trying to integrate, my previous experiences with my internship, always trying to understand the work I'm doing here with what I've done in the past. And I think the first thing is I think here in the U.S., I am not up against as much of the environmental and social crisis as I was in China. And so sometimes I have to always revert back to my experience in China to remind me why I'm doing the work I'm doing here in the U.S. Because I'm not seeing it as much as on a daily basis, because we do have the resources here in the U.S. to care for creation. Mm-hmm. And so in my internship specifically, I am involved in a variety of activities or planning. So the first one is development and grant writing. And so I am helping to kind of raise money in awareness of Laudato Si and the values of the Laudato Si Action platform. And so doing that through grant writing. So, just practical skills of being able to write well and explain what the Archdiocese is doing in a way that, funders can understand or everyday people can understand. So I'm, on that development lens, but then I'm also helping along with my colleague, Michael Tarian, really implementing the Laudato Si Action platform in our parishes and in the Archdiocese. So that involves planning committees. And it also has, working with parishioners at all different vicariates on what they're doing on the ground level to make what Pope Francis is calling us come to fruition, so that we can build sustainable environments for people to live in, and for people to know the interconnectedness between God and our creation. So those are so I'm kind of doing two different aspects in my internship.
So what do you feel like you've learned so far?
Oh, I've learned a lot.
I'm sure you could go on and on, right?
I have learned, as I noted earlier, kind of the practical skills. I mean, we kind of forget how important it is to nurture our writing skills, our communication skills. So even just that in itself, I'm learning and trying to always improve. But I think some things specifically that I really have learned kind of on a deeper level is kind of the value of perseverance. I think in many ways, the work that we do in the church, we don't see the fruits right away. Right. And nor do we, and sometimes, so that takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of dedication and patience.
Yes.
And so I think that's something that my internship has allowed me to grow in, is how to persevere in a way that allows us to build together what we're called as Catholics and what the church can become. And as you guys know in your ministry, this doesn't happen overnight.
No, exactly. We always talk about how we are planting seeds, and sometimes you don't see the seed, what it grows into. Sometimes God gives us a glimpse, and we're blessed to see some fruits of our labors, but not always. So we just have to trust. And so that's great insight for you to have. I know I've been in ministry for a long time, and sometimes you just don't know. So
exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Right.
No, and being able to bring in that value, not just in my ministry, but just in my own personal life, I'm really grateful for the internship experience.
Awesome. So. Okay, so it is break time. So when we come back, then we'll talk some more with you, Kathleen, about the Laudato Si Action Platform and about the encyclical. All right, so if everyone can hang with us for a minute, and we'll be right back with Kathleen.
At Catholic Charities, we fight hunger in Chicago throughout the year. Our 6 regional offices in Cook and Lake counties work together to offer sit-down and to-go meals to anyone in need. We deliver meals to those who are homebound, and our 8 food pantries offer 3 to 4 days of food supplies based on household size. Participants in these programs have the opportunity to learn about other Catholic charity services that strengthen individuals, families, and their communities. The challenges for those dealing with food insecurity are especially great during the winter months. To learn how you can help those who are hungry in your neighborhood, visit CatholicCharities.net or call 312-655-7525. That's 312-655-7525. Thank you for your generosity.
I am a seminarian.
The Church needs compassionate and well-trained priests to help guide each of us through life.
What inspires me, what draws me always to the priesthood is continue to see priests be a beacon of hope for other people.
You can play a part in the education of these young men as they prepare for a life of service to others.
I want to be that beacon of hope too, and it sets my heart on fire.
To support our seminarians, make your gift at archchicago.org/seminarian fund or call 312-534-7959.
Ancestry and genealogy are more important every day. People all over the world are wanting to learn more about their family heritage for personal and for health reasons. At Catholic Charities, we are hearing from adults who lived for a brief time at St. Vincent's Orphanage, the wonderful life-affirming agency that operated out of our headquarters for 91 years, serving thousands of women, children, and families until it closed in 1972. Our post-adoption services help adults who want to learn more about their experience at St. Vincent's. Our compassionate staff members provide whatever family background information they can offer, along with support and reunion services. To learn more, call 312-655-7093. That's 312-655-7093. The spirit of St. Vincent's lives on in the inspiring stories that continue to emerge today.
Welcome back to Fully Alive, the radio program of the Office of Human Dignity and Solidarity at the Archdiocese of Chicago. I'm Dawn. With me is my coworker, Ray. And we are talking with one of our interns, Kathleen O'Brien, who came to us last summer, I guess, to work with the Laudato Si Care for Creation Working Group and the Laudato Si Action Plan for the Archdiocese. So why don't we start, Kathleen, tell us a little bit about the encyclical. I know it's hard to say in a few words, but I've read it. It's a little detailed, but what can you share with us quickly about what that encyclical is about?
Yeah, thanks, Dawn. So, so the encyclical is by Pope Francis, and it was written in 2015. Mm-hmm. And so, like as Dawn said, it is a very deep encyclical. And so I do encourage, if you do have the time to kind of just read through it, look through it. But I think just two main things that I would like to just point out regarding the encyclical. When people think of Laudato Si, they often think of it's just an environmental encyclical, but actually it is deeply, deeply a social encyclical that points to many of our social crises. And so what Pope Francis is arguing is that there is underneath the environmental issues is actually a social issue, mm-hmm. which is partly rooted in our way of treating the earth is how we're actually treating people. Right. And so, for example, we have very much this throwaway culture. Right. Yes. That not only throws away things and our resources, but also throws away people. Such as the unborn, mm-hmm. The people, poor people, and so it's often there's an intersection that Pope Francis is showing us. Yes, and then the second thing is that Pope Francis is trying to show us that God is the creator, and that this is God's creation, and so because of that. As Catholics, we're called to witness to how we treat creation and how we, how we are stewards of creation. Right. And so humans are not disconnected or separate from creation and nature, but are part of it. So I think those are two major insights that Pope Francis shows us in Laudato Si.
I just love how Pope Francis kind of names us and points to us as that we're the mouthpieces of creation. And it's just a beautiful thing. Can you talk a little bit more about the Laudato Si action platform and how are we implementing that in the Archdiocese of Chicago?
Yeah, so there's Laudato Si encyclical, and then we have the Laudato Si action platform.
Mm-hmm.
So the Laudato Si action platform is promulgated by the Vatican. That ultimately it is the concrete steps of making Laudato Si come to life in real life and concrete actions. And so it provides a map for how dioceses and parishes can bring to fruition caring for creation and caring for the people that are in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's mobilizing the Catholic Church at all levels, from the parish to Catholic schools to clergy to Catholic families, and providing tangible ways of building a more sustainable future for not just Catholics but the whole world. So it's taking the abstract and making it concrete.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, it's funny. I did a presentation with Michael a few years ago, and we wanted to show that, you aren't either a JP2 Catholic or a Pope Francis Catholic when it comes to this, that there's a nice baton handoff, that Pope John Paul II in his works talked about a culture of death, and then Pope Francis takes it another step and calls it a throwaway culture. And it's all related. And of course, I think Michael does a really nice job starting out by saying that if we don't take care of our environment, we don't take care of our earth, then we're taking away from the future human beings, that really we're not setting up for our children and our grandchildren a very nice world if we use everything up and we're not careful. So he does a nice job of explaining that. And I think that a lot of people don't understand. As you said, they think it's just about the environment. No, this is about humans and how humans are the pinnacle of creation. And everything that we were given to be stewards of is here so that we can thrive and so that we can know our Creator better. And if we don't take care of it, then we're not going to be here for very long. So,
yeah, exactly. You said it perfectly, Dawn, better than me. So you're hired.
Oh, thank you. All right, great. So tell us, how can people get involved with this Laudato Si action platform here in Chicago?
Yeah, so it's really exciting. So the Archdiocese is actually working in tandem with the Vatican, and the Archdiocese of Chicago is specifically one of 9 dioceses worldwide, being the first to implement the Laudato Si action platform.
Right. That is very exciting.
And so, yes, so it's very exciting. And so we have, specifically the Office of Human Dignity and Solidarity, where the Care for Creation Ministry is where I work in, is accompanying currently already 30 plus parishes that have signed up to pledge to push forward the Laudato Si action platform values and goals. And so it's wonderful that, the Archdiocese of Chicago can really be a model for dioceses all over the world of what it looks like to live out our Catholic value of caring for creation. And so that's in Cardinal Supich as well has supported this effort and has often tied this to the Renew My Church effort. And that when we are bringing people to care for creation, we're also bringing people into the Catholic faith to know who God is. So that's how it's being implemented currently in the Archdiocese of Chicago.
Okay. And I know that, you've got a number of different ministries represented on that team, as well as a number of parishes, right? So, it's a great way to work through it and then share it with the rest of the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're able to engage, we're engaging. It's all about engaging people and bringing people closer to their Catholic faith. And like you said, Dawn, with the parishes and the different vicariates, it's involving everyone. So
you mentioned that there's 30 plus parishes already that signed up to start this, to be part of it. Is it too late for a parish, an organization to kind of get to learn more about it, to be signed up for it too, or?
Right. Yeah, no. So, nope, there is still time. If I remember correctly, I think you have so your parish has until April 22nd to sign up. So if this is something you're hearing for the first time and you're like, I want my parish to be involved, like bring this to your parish council, bring this to your priest and tell them this is something you want your parish to be involved in. And you can sign up on the website. So yeah, not too late.
So if they want more information about it and they want to know how to do that, where do they go?
So you can go on to, we have on the in the Office of Humanity and Solidarity, under the Care for Creation Ministry, that's where you can go to get all the information about Laudato Si Action Platform and to sign up. So there should be some button on there where you can apply to your parish. So that's where I would send you to.
So right now on the screen, you can see that particular web page, and then there's 3 buttons at the bottom that tells you how to learn more about the action plan and about the goals. So,
and as Kathleen mentioned, it is on the archchicago.org website. Just look under Office of Human Dignity and Solidarity, and it'll lead you there.
Okay. All right. Well, so Kathleen, tell us what your plans are next. Are you going to leave us at the end of the school year?
Yeah.
And head off somewhere else?
It's hard to think about.
You still got to finish your thesis and everything.
And we still have a lot to work to do in Laudato Si Action Platform. So we still got a ways to go. But so I will be, once I graduate in May, I will actually be moving out to the Bay Area, Berkeley, California. Oh. And I will be working for the U.S.-China Catholic Association.
Beautiful.
So I will be working one-on-one with the U.S.-China Catholic Association Executive Director, Father Michael Agliardo, and then also the board and our other staff. And we're implementing a new initiative in how to engage Chinese international students on university campuses. So that's what I'll be partaking in once I graduate. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also very sad to, be leaving the Archdiocese and meeting wonderful people like you. I've just been grateful for this experience. So
it's been an interesting year with all of our interns and, being in the office part-time and on Zoom a lot. And I don't know that I've ever seen you in person. We spent a lot of time on
But it feels
Zoom.
like we have.
I know.
The technology now.
The world is so different these days, but
that's right.
And thank you for your yes. I mean, it really is the Holy Spirit. God's fingerprints are all over this. You're here. We met you. You're part of the office and always will be in Archdiocese of Chicago. And you've made a great imprint already in what, especially what you're doing in the Laudato Si platforms and all that stuff.
Yes, I know Michael will miss you for sure.
Well, yeah, it's just been really an honor to work alongside him. And also I'm always encouraged by the work you're doing and, bringing about making people aware that life is so precious in all forms. Yes. And so I'm always encouraged to see the work you guys are doing as well. So
Thanks,
all a
Kathleen.
team effort.
Yes.
Okay, so it's about that break time again. So Kathleen, thank you so much for being here with us and giving us a chance to introduce you to our audience and talk about your ministry with Laudato Si and the action plan. And we will be taking a short break and coming back to talk to Christopher West. So stay with us. And thank you, Kathleen.
Thanks, Kathleen.
God bless.
Thank you guys so much.
Amen. Amen. I'm alive because he lives. Amen. Amen. Let my song join the world that never ends because he lives. I was dead in the grave. I was covered in sin and shame. I heard mercy call my name. He rolled the
Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, Catholic Charities has continued to respond to the needs of people who come to us for assistance. More than 850,000 meals and food parcels have been offered to those who are struggling with food insecurity. Over 108,000 homelessness prevention hotline calls have been answered. Over 22,000 people have received mental health services, and $2 million in financial assistance has been provided to keep people housed. If you or someone you know needs assistance, email us at gethelp@catholiccharities.net. That's gethelp@catholiccharities.net. Or call 312-655-7700. That's 312-655-7700. Before, during, and after COVID-19, Catholic Charities is here for you.
I feel special. I feel great. I got good grades.
We've seen a huge surge in our kids now meeting or exceeding grade level. Come check us out. You may have never thought we were an option before.
The cemetery ministry is a core ministry of our Catholic faith tied to the corporal works of mercy. It's comforting to know that our Catholic cemeteries are caring for the remains of our loved ones awaiting the resurrection. There are 44 Archdiocese of Chicago Catholic cemeteries willing to help you in your time of loss. Call 708-449-6100 or visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org. Catholic Cemeteries, serving the Catholic community since 1837.
You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Thanks for letting us be part of your morning. Now again, Catholic Chicago.
I believe I overcome by the power of His blood.
Thanks for hanging with us on Fully Alive, the radio program of the Office of Human Dignity and Solidarity at the Archdiocese of Chicago. I'm your host, Dawn Fitzpatrick, and with me co-hosting is my coworker, Ray Pingoy. Thanks. We've had a great talk with Kathleen O'Brien just a minute ago about Laudato Si Action Platform and her internship. That was really informative.
And her time in China. How impressive.
Cool.
Yeah.
It was. So anyway, we're now ready for our second half of the show.
Yes.
And joining us from Pennsylvania is the president and co-founder of the Theology of the Body Institute, Christopher West. Hello, Christopher.
Hey, Dawn. Hey, Ray. Great to be with both of you.
It's so great to have you. Let me tell everybody a little bit about you just for a second. Christopher West is a theology doctor and is a devoted husband and a father of 5. As president of the Theology of the Body Institute, he leads an international apostolate spreading St. John Paul II's life-transforming teaching through graduate-level in-person and online courses, on-site events and programs, clergy enrichment training, online global community dedicated to ongoing formation. In addition to serving as professor of theological anthropology in the Institute jointly sponsored MA program with Pontifex University. Wow, you gave me a mouthful here, Christopher. Dr. West has served on the faculties of St. John Vianney Theological Seminary in Denver, the Institute for Priestly Formation in Omaha, the St. Therese Institute of Faith and Mission in Canada, and as a visiting professor of the John Paul II Institute in Australia. He is the author of more than a dozen best-selling books and numerous video and audio programs. He co-hosts the popular podcast Ask Christopher West.
I'm a listener.
With his wife, Wendy. And his work has been featured in the New York Times, on ABC News, Fox News, MSNBC, and in countless Catholic and evangelical media outlets. Wow.
That is a mouthful, Dawn. I don't even know where you got that bio.
And also, he's our teacher.
He is.
Yay!
Woo! That's what I would say. Sometimes I feel like I'm your disciple, Christopher. So yeah, it's awesome to have you with us. So we're here to talk a little bit about theology of the body and Christopher's new book, God is Beauty. I happen to have a copy of it here.
Correction, it's not my new book.
Okay.
It's the book of Pope John Paul II's, the retreat that John Paul II delivered in the early 60s, long before he became Pope, to a group of artists. And it is a Lenten retreat. This is very important for our time of Lent.
Yes.
Right? It's a Lenten retreat. So I just want to make it clear that the main gist of this book is a retreat that Karol Wojtyła gave. And then there is commentary from me. And then there is some reflections from some other thinkers as well. But the meat of this book is John Paul II's retreat from 1962.
I just want to say this real quick because me and my wife, actually my wife, Mary Grace, was the one that purchased this book. And we've been sharing, I'm not done yet. We're not done yet with the book because we keep wrestling with it. Like she has it for a time and I have it for a time. But I just love the fact that it starts with the retreats of John Paul II. In a sense, I feel like I'm sitting down as a participant in the way, the way he reads it or the way he's presenting it. Like one part, it just says, oh, well, we're going to stop the reflection right here because Mass is about to start. And again, I feel like I'm there, you know?
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So how did you rediscover this long lost treasure of John Paul II?
Yeah, it is a long lost treasure. I only learned of it, and this is surprising to me because I've been studying the works of John Paul II since the early 90s. But I only discovered that this existed, I think, in 2016.
Oh, really?
I was reading a book by Stanislaw Griegel, who was a former professor of mine and a lifelong friend of John Paul II's. And he mentioned this retreat in this book. And what really struck or caught my attention was he described it as forming a single whole with John Paul's theology of the body. That's my area of expertise. That's what I've given my life to, sharing with the world. And when I learned there is a retreat that he delivered in 1962 that forms a single whole with his theology of the body, I said, I got to get my hands on this. But it hadn't been published in any language other than Polish. So I contacted a friend of mine in Poland and I said, do you know about this retreat? He said, yes. I said, could you please translate it for me just so I can read it? So he did a private translation of it for me. And when I read it, it was so eye-opening and so beautiful and so rich. I thought this has to get out to the English-speaking world. So I contacted the Vatican, and the Theology of the Body Institute was granted permission to translate it officially into English and publish it for the first time.
Right.
So it's coming to the English-speaking world for the first time.
It's very cool. And I know just reading it, it's talking about, beauty. God is beauty. And I noticed in your commentary, you're talking about, looking at the Pope's words, or he wasn't a Pope at the time, but looking at his words and then saying, he comments on how God is beauty and none of us are beauty, although we can reflect God's beauty and therefore we can be beautiful, which I thought
Correct.
was really an interesting way to look at it.
Yes, the Wojtyła, that's his pre-papal name, Karol Wojtyła, he quotes from a Polish poet, I believe he's a Polish poet, who says, a stream of beauty flows through the human person, but the human person is not beauty himself, right? Only God is beauty in an absolute sense. But that first line, a stream of beauty flows through us, is very important. That's the call to holiness.
Right.
I love how Pope Benedict XVI puts it. He says that a saint is someone who has allowed his heart or her heart to be pierced so deeply by God's truth and beauty that person is transformed into God's truth and beauty. We could say a saint is someone who really allows God's beauty and goodness and truth to flow through him or her. That's what a saint is. I mean, if that's true, I want to be a saint, don't you? Don't you want to have divine beauty flowing through you?
That's really something.
And then we can add, conversely, what is sin? Sin is that which blocks the flow of divine beauty through us.
Okay.
So we got to open the channels. We got to open the channels of our hearts and let the beauty of God flush out what's not beautiful about us. And there's a lot of things not beautiful about us because we're fallen.
Right.
But here's the good news. Christ came into the world to restore creation to the purity of its origins. We could also say, that's a quote out of the Catechism, but we could also say Christ came into the world to restore creation to the beauty of its origins.
Interesting.
What a perfect time to dive into this, to reflect on it, and just to sit and I mean, just let it permeate in our hearts. You know, it's what a beautiful time to do that.
So I know,
and that's what Lent is. Really, that's what Lent is supposed to be, where we're allowing the beauty of God to flush out what is not the beauty of God in our lives.
Well, and I think there was something specific about what was going on in the culture when he did this retreat. So what was he trying to respond to in the culture?
Yes, so certainly in Poland, he's delivering this retreat under the communist occupation, where the dignity of the human being, which we could also just as well say the beauty of the human being, was being systematically denied and suppressed. Well, guess what? In the U.S., we're not living under communism, but we are living under an oppressive, ideologically driven society that is denying and suppressing the true beauty of the human being. What did John Paul II do? One of the things he did himself as a young man to resist tyranny was he, as an artist himself, he was an actor, and he was part of the Rhapsodic Theater in Poland. This is how he mounted cultural resistance through art. And what he's doing in this retreat is he's empowering the artists of Poland in 1962 to purify their craft so that they can save Polish culture from the tyranny of communism. So this is a movement on his part as a young archbishop. This is a movement on his part of resistance to the tyranny of communism, which was suppressing and degrading the dignity of the human person.
Yeah.
And let me add this. This is very important because the retreat is called God is Beauty, a retreat on the gospel and art. And so you might think, well, I'm not an artist. I don't pick up paintbrushes and paint, or I don't sculpt. But John Paul's very clear here. We are all called to be artists. And the main work of art we are all called to do. It doesn't mean we're all called to be painters or sculptors, but the main work of art is our own lives. And he says we are called to make of our lives a beautiful work of art.
Right.
Wow. That's the call to holiness again.
Sure. So it's about time for us to take a break. When we come back, we'll finish up talking about God is Beauty, and then I want to share with everybody a little bit about the Made for More show that you'll be bringing here to Chicago.
Excellent.
Yep.
I was dead in the grave. I was covered in sin and shame. I heard mercy call my name. Hero.
Catholic Charities Veterans Employment Services help veterans find and maintain employment through job readiness training, resume writing assistance, mock interviews, and job placement counseling. We work with a wide array of employers and community partners to help veterans reach their career goals. We owe a debt of gratitude to all of our veterans for the sacrifices they made to serve our nation. It is our privilege now to assist them. To learn more about Catholic Charities Veterans Employment Program in Cook County, call 808-2954. In Lake County, call 847-782-4219. You can also learn more at CatholicCharities.net. To all United States veterans, thank you for your service.
We are at the Most Blessed Trinity Parish Food Pantry in Waukegan.
And here we care for people in need. There was definitely an uptick in the needs for services.
We doubled our volume after COVID hit, from servicing about 250 families a week to about 500 a week. We supply bread, tortillas, vegetables, milk, cheese, butter, proteins, fish, chicken, eggs.
Well, the annual Catholic Appeal has been a tremendous help to us, especially over the past year and a half.
Without the annual Catholic Appeal, we might have to close our doors. Our parish is the largest one in the Archdiocese, but is very poor. We think about food and we think about nourishment, but we also nourish the soul, provide that connection to humanity.
The good works here are made possible through the annual Catholic Appeal. Make your gift at annualcatholicappeal.com.
At Catholic Charities, we fight hunger in Chicago throughout the year. Our 6 regional offices in Cook and Lake counties work together to offer sit-down and to-go meals to anyone in need. We deliver meals to those who are homebound, and our 8 food pantries offer 3 to 4 days of food supplies based on household size. Participants in these programs have the opportunity to learn about other Catholic charity services that strengthen individuals, families, and their communities. The challenges for those dealing with food insecurity are especially great during the winter months. To learn how you can help those who are hungry in your neighborhood, visit CatholicCharities.net or call 312-655-7525. That's 312-655-7525. Thank you for your generosity.
By the power of His blood. Amen. Amen. I'm alive because He lives. Amen. Amen. Let my song join the world that never ends.
Welcome back to our Ash Wednesday edition of Fully Alive, the radio program of the Office of Human Dignity and Solidarity at the Archdiocese of Chicago. I'm Dawn Fitzpatrick, along with my coworker Ray Pingoy. We are talking with Christopher West from the Theology of the Body Institute, and he's been going over with us this incredible finding that he put together, a retreat on the gospel and art, God is Beauty, from Karol Wojtyła and St. John Paul II, who is the same person, by the way. And it includes a commentary by Christopher and a number of comments and commentaries, reflections from other authors and artists, including people at the Theology of the Body Institute. I noticed Jen Settle has a little chapter in there, and so does Bill Donahue and Mike Mangione. So that's very exciting. But it's a great book. So how can people get this, Christopher, if they are interested?
They can go to theologyofthebody.com. That'll take them right to our website and click on the store.
Okay.
And they'll see it listed there right at the top.
Great. And it's also on Kindle, I understand.
Yep. It's Kindle, and we are working on an audiobook.
Oh, great.
Cool. That is not out yet. I was about to say we have an audiobook, but we're only working on that. That'll be out soon.
Okay, well, great. We're excited for everybody to get a hold of this. And of course, you'll be here in about a month. You're coming along with Mike Mangione to put on an incredible event for us, multimedia, music, storytelling.
We're going to be there 2 nights. We're going to be there. Do I have my dates right? Is it April 4th and 5th?
April 5th and 6th. Yeah.
April 5th and 6th. Yes. We will be in Chicago, doing the Chicago area, doing our Made for More event. And let me just share a little bit about this. As you mentioned, Dawn, this is a real event. It's a multimedia event. There's live music. Mike Mangione, who's been a touring artist in the secular world for almost 2 decades. He's kind of like a Catholic Bob Dylan. That's how I put it.
He kind of is.
He's a storyteller, and he brings such beautiful poetic imagery related to the gospel and John Paul II's teaching in particular. It really brings this teaching to life. So there's live music from him at this event. There's big screens, and we do this multimedia presentation with videos and sacred art and secular art, and all of it. We are trying to convey. Well, we're trying to convey exactly the title of this book, that God is beauty, and our hearts are drawn to beauty, and we are made for more than what this world is holding out to us. Right. We all have this ache inside. We're looking for something. We're hungry for something. But this world, if we take that desire to the things of this world, we are left wanting. And not only are we left wanting, we're left wounded. The Made for More event is an invitation to a true vision of the fulfillment that really corresponds to the deepest desires of our hearts. This is the gift of John Paul II's theology of the body. That phrase might seem strange to people, theology of the body. So it needs a little explanation. And this is what we'll be doing all night long at the event, unfolding what that means. But briefly, it means this. God reveals his mystery. God reveals his beauty in and through the physical world, right? All of creation is a kind of sacrament that reveals the beauty and mystery of God. And at the pinnacle of all that God has created is us. Male and female, he created them. And he blessed them. And he said, be fruitful and multiply. The union of man and woman is the main sign. John Paul's fancy theological language is that the union of man and woman is the primordial sacrament. By that he means it's the original, it's the fundamental revelation in this created world of the love and beauty of God. The union of man and woman in God's plan is meant to be a sign here on earth that points us to heaven. And that's exactly why the enemy is attacking the union of man and woman. I don't know, Ray and Dawn, if you've noticed, but there's a violent war going on in the world today aimed directly at the meaning of our creation as male and female. The theology of the body is the antidote to that crisis. This is the crisis of our times. John Paul II gave us the antidote, but it's as if we have the antidote in our hands, but the church has yet really to inject it into its bloodstream. And that's what the purpose of the Theology of the Body Institute is, to inject this antidote into the bloodstream of the church. Dawn, you've been to so many of our courses and programs over the years. You can certainly speak to that. Do you want to share anything about your own experience of being exposed to this teaching?
Well, I mean, it's life-changing. It's incredible. Every time you go to a course, you're like, when's the next one? What else can I learn? You just suck it up, more. I want to know more. And it's not a moment of boredom, I'll tell you what. I mean, you sit in a class and listen to somebody's reflection on an aspect of theology of the body, because there's a lot of aspects. I mean, I know when I first found it, I had a middle schooler who was told in her classroom by a Catholic school teacher that if a woman was sick and it was threatening her life, that it would be okay to have an abortion. And this happened in a Catholic school. And I know. And I worked there. I was the youth minister in the parish. And I went to the principal and I'm like, what kind of teachers do we have here? and he said, well, let's talk to her. And she said to me, I'll teach anything you want, but I'm not Catholic. And so being the kind of person I am, I said, well, then I'm going to find some way to help you. And that's when I found Theology of the Body. And we took Theology of the Body for Teens, the middle school edition, to the classroom. And then I decided to, I was already working on some master's theology courses. So I found a course in Theology of the Body. And I was like, I have a calling to this. I mean, it's something about it. It just calls you to more and more and to go deeper. And then when I got this job in Chicago and found out that we had this chastity education initiative and Ray Pingoy was all about theology of the body, I said, wow, God's really speaking to me. Then I realized how much we could learn. And it just doesn't stop. And I think you get this, it's like that hunger that you have for God. It just gets, you get more and more hungry the more you know. Like, I want to know more. I got to know more. Tell me more about this, Christopher.
It's kind of like, when you have some ailment or something and you go to doctor after doctor and they can't quite diagnose it correctly. Discovering John Paul II's teaching called Theology of the Body is like finding that doctor who knows exactly what the problem is, and more importantly, exactly what the solution is.
Yes.
And I remember discovering this theology of the body. I was in my early to mid 20s. This was back in the 90s, early 90s. And I remember reading it for the first time. I was like, how does this man know what goes on in my own heart so profoundly? And I felt like I was holding in my hands the cure for cancer. It really felt like it was something that big.
Yes.
He diagnoses exactly and precisely what is wrong with the modern world. But again, more importantly, he shows us the way out. He gives us a vision of hope that Christ has already borne in his body. This attack against the body that's going on in the modern world. And Christ came out the other side with a resurrected body. And we have to reclaim this truth. It is absolutely fundamentally biblical truth. This is Christianity. God reveals his love. God reveals his beauty in and through the human body.
Yes.
It's called the incarnation. So if it seems strange to speak of our bodies as a theology, a study of God, John Paul II says it shouldn't if we believe in the incarnation, because this is what Christianity is. It's God revealing himself through the human body.
Absolutely.
That's theology of the body.
Yep.
We're gonna have a great moment here when you and Mike come over April 5th, April 6th, and April 5 is in St. Alphonsus Church, and then on Wednesday, April the 6th, it'll be in St. Damien Church. So if you want some more information, if you want to purchase some tickets, do visit our website at respectlifechicago.org. Tap into that events page, and you will get that link to
get more information. You can watch a little video with Christopher, and you can order tickets.
That's right.
So all of the above.
Please come out for this event. If anything we're talking about here piques your interest, this is the perfect next step to experience for yourself the gift of what John Paul II has given us. The Lord has not abandoned his church.
Amen.
Right? The church is passing through very, very difficult times. But if you look at church history, whenever the church is passing through a great crisis, and crisis is nothing new to the Catholic Church, because the enemy is always trying to bring the church down. But whenever there's been a great crisis, there's also been a great saint raised up by the Holy Spirit to respond to the crisis and take us out through the other side to the solution.
Amen.
And I want to say to the whole world, that crisis in the church today is a crisis of a sexual nature. And the antidote, the solution, has been given to us by a great saint raised up by the Holy Spirit named St. John Paul II. Come see for yourself.
Absolutely.
The Holy Spirit has not abandoned his church. This is the way through these dark times.
So everybody come to Made for More, April 5th and 6th. You'll get to see Christopher and Mike Mangione and get a lot more of what he's already been getting us all fired up about here in the last few minutes. So thank you.
And those are two separate events, just so everybody knows. It's not a 2-night event. It's a 1-night event, but we're doing it twice while we're in the Chicago area.
So great. So we're looking forward to having you. Thanks for joining us on this radio / podcast.
You're welcome, Dawn. Thank you, Dawn, and thank you, Ray.
Yep. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
God bless everyone. See you on our April show, and we'll see you at Made for More.
Join us every Monday through Friday at this time for Catholic Chicago. You can stream our programs live or listen to past programs by visiting our website, archchicago.org, and clicking on Radio TV. And please connect with Catholic Chicago on social media.